The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the hosts and guests, and not necessarily those of the staff and management of WWDB-TV.
Folks, we're back to Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas, and Christina Ortiz with Veterans in Politics. Lena Ortiz is not with us today.
Lena Ortiz?
God damn it. Lena Ocasio is not with us today. I don't know where my brain is.
Not here.
That's true. So, anybody got any rants?
Has anybody seen how Brian Sandoval has the new tax deal in place, and Stislak is going to piggyback on that?
Yeah.
And what does that start for us, and what kind of foundation will that bring us here in the Valley?
I think that, Sandoval, honestly, Sandoval and Sisolak aren't that far apart, so I don't really see, except for, the first year or so of Sisolak being governor, I'm sure he's going to do what most people do. He'll try to pay back a bunch of his far left friends that helped get him elected, and then he'll settle in. But I don't see a whole lot of difference, especially in the first year, with the difference between Sisolak and Sandoval.
And on national news, Trump is he thinks that he's going to be able to end the marijuana ban on the federal level. And I think it's kind of time for that. So many different states now have just decided to have it, that we should just end it and regulate it and tax the shit out of it like we do alcohol.
Yeah. I just think that on the federal level, it makes sense, because now you got jurisdictions that don't know exactly what to do back and forth, how to deal with the issue. My thing is that if we do it on the federal level, I wonder if they're going to try to push through what other states are calling for, with people that are in prison now
for marijuana possession, should they be out? Right.
Yeah, and that's a pretty long discussion, because on one, yes, it's legal now, but on two, when
it wasn't legal.
So they did actually break the law. So.
Where I'm at, you can't just be let out of the law because they changed the law. Finish your time, and then we can move forward going forward.
Yeah, that's kind of how I come down on that one too.
Yeah.
I don't want to know what's going on with the Wi-Fi around here.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well,
Well, on a so
no. I got some stuff.
Okay.
We lost a friend of Veterans in Politics from Northern Nevada, Vicki Maltman. She used to be the auxiliary director for years, and she did a good, outstanding job in Northern Nevada, interviewing all the candidates, and she passed away in her sleep a couple of days ago. So I just want to give a moment of silence for her. And while I'm on the topic of death, I wanted to give a moment of silence for President
George Bush, number 41.
Thank you.
I liked him.
President Bush. I served under him during the Gulf War, and the last time I saw him, I was in a helicopter in Saudi Arabia, and he was there for Thanksgiving, 1990. Were you born?
I was 2.
Oh, okay.
I was 2.
So for those two individuals, I like to give a moment of silence.
And on that note,
And we're going to have 2 exciting guests today. First one, we're going to have Rachael Alvarado, who's going to be calling in from Arizona. And then we're going to have Robert. Oh, I am going to mess that name up. Here
Aguiniga. Aguiniga. There we go. I had to look, but.
And he's going to have his 2 sons on and talk about the family court here.
I saw that. They're nice gentlemen, and I'm looking forward to talking with them.
So I just wanted to add one thing about President Bush's passing. I obviously I was a strong supporter of President Bush. I was still pretty young when Bush was in office. He was actually the only president my dad ever voted for. And when I asked my dad why
He didn't vote for Lyndon B. Johnson?
he didn't vote for president one way or the other. He specifically
He didn't even vote for George Washington?
No, he specifically registered to vote just for President Bush. And I asked him why, and he said because he's a grown-up, not a partisan. And I thought that was a pretty cool way of putting it. And then Chris Wallace on Fox News actually said something I agree with, and I'm not a big Chris Wallace fan. He said that he just how much the politics has changed since the Bush-Reagan years. And he said it's not a Democrat or a Republican thing. He said now politics is a zero-sum game. You only win if the other side loses. And he said politics didn't used to be that way, and it is now. And he said he doesn't blame the politicians. He blames all of us.
For voting them.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing that I think people should take to heart.
That's what I tell people about these judges.
Well,
I said it's not the judge's fault. You put them in office.
Right. Yep.
So take them out of office and make sure you pay attention.
Whatever
So.
you can say about number 41, he was a great, respected man. He dedicated his life to the service of his country, and he cared for each individual that served. So may he rest in peace.
And I think he was the last veteran that was president of the United States.
That's what I was on the understanding
He's
of.
he's the last
Military
military veteran. Yeah. Yep.
Because Obama's not a veteran, Clinton's not a veteran, Trump's not a veteran.
And Bush really wasn't.
No,
Well,
W wasn't a veteran. I mean,
No, W wasn't a veteran.
No.
So yeah, he's the last veteran that served. So our hearts and souls go out to those that fallen, and I hope that we have some good people that could take their place.
so we should probably vote smarter.
Yeah, we should vote smarter, and that's what the show's all about: voting smarter. Anybody got anything else?
No.
Do you know today's my anniversary on this show? According to Facebook, today is the first day that I did the show many years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Shit.
didn't know that till like today.
Well, Jim should have made you a cake.
Right.
Oh, well,
Yeah, you wouldn't want the cake.
I'm not in particular. I don't want to be sick today.
Wow.
He is really sick, and
Oh well, that's a good thing you moved them.
Right.
I was being nice today.
He could get our guest sick, maybe.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, you guys got anything else?
No.
No.
We're gonna take a commercial break, folks, and we're gonna come back with Rachael Alvarado discussing the corruption of family court in Arizona. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon. This is Jim Jonas, host of Veterans in Politics. We are a video and internet radio show, live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on worldwide digital broadcasting television. Our mission is to educate, organize, and awaken our veterans and their families to select, support, and intelligently vote for those candidates whom would help create a better world to protect ourselves from our own governments in a culture of corruption, and to be the political voice for those and other groups who do not have one. So listen to us live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on worldwide digital broadcasting television. Or, if you miss that opportunity, it's okay. You can listen and watch our archive broadcast by going to www.www.dbtv.com, or simply Google Veterans in Politics and it will link you right over. It will also give you a list of our upcoming shows, so you can do some research and call in to ask questions. The number is 702-685-8380. If you truly want to be informed and make educated voting decisions, Veterans in Politics is the place to go. We are nonpartisan, have no agenda but to help you get the information you need to make an educated voting decision. Remember, the person who doesn't educate themselves and exercise their right to vote is only adding to corruption in government. Don't be that person. Listen every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. to Veterans in Politics. For more information regarding VIPI, visit www.veteransinpolitics.org.
folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson, Christina Ortiz, and Jim Jonas for Veterans in Politics. We have Rachael Alvarado, who's going to be discussing the corruption in family court in Arizona. Ms. Alvarado, did I pronounce your name correctly?
You did.
Okay. Tell us about yourself.
What part of Arizona are you from?
Tempe, Arizona. Over here by ASU campus.
Okay. Tell us about you.
Well, I'm a single mom with 3 kids, and just recently moved to Arizona from Lake Tahoe, Nevada, and been here about 2 years now, and yeah.
Is it 3 kids from the same father?
No.
Two different fathers, or?
Yeah, 2 different dads.
Okay. Were you ever married to any of the dads?
No, I wasn't.
Okay. So what's going on with your case? Tell us about it.
Well, first off, why did you move from Tahoe to Arizona, and how did that affect your case?
I moved down here because, as you know, well, I'm not sure, here in southern Nevada, but northern Nevada, there's a lot of snow in Lake Tahoe, so 10 feet of snow, I was kind of getting a little over it, so I wanted some sun in my life, so I don't know, I moved out here to Arizona. My brother lives out here, him and his wife and their son, and so I figured it'd be a nice little change weather-wise, and so I moved out here from there, and I brought my daughter with me, who was just a couple months at the time, and then met my second son's dad, and had a baby with him. And I don't know, CPS got involved with me when I had gave birth to my son. They had got a call, I guess, and came down and started an investigation. And the investigation was closed. Case was closed the next day. And 2 months later, I get a knock on my door, and it was CPS again. And no, actually, they came to my house 2 months later. I told the caseworker that the case was closed, and he said that he would talk to the supervisor and see what was going on and let me know what was going on. And anyways, in the meantime, I ended up having to take my son to the emergency room because he had an allergic reaction. So his whole face had, ballooned up, and took him to the emergency room. And the doctor came in and said, that it's an allergic reaction, and had discharged us. He asked me if I wanted to run tests, and, I was like, yeah, I want to make sure, because he was a newborn at the time. So I wanted to make sure, it didn't happen again, or just find out the reason behind the allergic reaction. And so anyways, ran the test. All the tests came back negative. We were discharged. We were good to go. And upon leaving the hospital, we were approached by police officers and a CPS worker. And they did basically a false arrest on me, I guess you would say. I wasn't really arrested. I was detained, more or less. And they said that I had a traffic ticket warrant, and which was incorrect, because when I was released, they said that no, that there was no warrant ever issued for my arrest. So, and I have the paperwork for that. And so, basically, they took my kids illegally with no court order, no warrant, no report to the hotline, and no reasoning behind it. They said that it was lack of contact, basically.
Rachael, I hear you talking about Child Protective Services, and I don't know if you are aware, but several months ago in Phoenix, there was a family court judge that sanctioned CPS for $127,000 for lying to the court, and said that he would have sanctioned them more, but he didn't want to burden the taxpayers. Are you aware of that?
I don't think so. I don't know. You'd have to tell me what case that was, or what.
Yeah, I don't remember the case or the judge on top of my head, but I think it was several cases. He just got enough. he had enough of them lying to him. And is your governor Jan Brewer, right? Jan Brewer is your governor?
I don't think so. Not anymore. I believe it's Doug Ducey. Is that his name?
Is the governor of Arizona?
Yeah,
Well,
I believe so.
Well, I was reading that Governor Brewer abolished Child Protective Services in Arizona.
Right. No, she did. Yeah, she abolished it, and in turn, they then came up with DCS, which is the same thing. They just changed their name because they were back when it was CPS. When she was governor, they were having so many, wrongful removals and so much sexual abuse on the children that were being taken, and it was just getting out of hand. The children that needed help and needed, to be saved against from abuse, they weren't saving them. They were just leaving them. There was like 1,600 cases that were just, not investigated of child abuse. And those kids ended up, a lot of those kids ended up dying. And the ones that didn't need to be removed or, there wasn't any abuse or neglect, they were taking those kids and basically sex trafficking them out, because we're really close to the border. Well, not really close. Well, yeah. We're close to the Mexican border. So there's been a lot of, sex trafficking going on there. And I don't know, I guess they just uncovered a lot of it and, shut CPS down. Well, they just changed the name, basically. So now it's the Department of Child Safety.
So nothing has changed other than the name. There's no regulations or anything that have been put in place with this fiasco, this tragedy that's been going on?
No, they're saying that they, out of those 1,600 cases or something like that, that they went in and reinvestigated those and, a lot of those files were closed, I guess. And so they're making it seem like they're trying to clean up the mess from CPS, but really they're not. I mean, it's still the same stuff going on. It's still the same, money behind it. And, it's just really corrupt. It's really sick. The courthouse that I'm involved in is in Mesa, Arizona, is, I guess, one of the worst courthouses to be in.
Why is that?
And I'm not sure why it's the worst. That's just what I heard. I mean, there's only two courthouses for, all of Maricopa County. And there's one in Phoenix, and then there's one in Mesa, Arizona. And so Phoenix, Arizona, has more cases, I believe, than, going through its courthouse than Mesa does. But Mesa's the worst.
What are the ages of your kids, and what are their sex?
My daughter just turned 3, and my son, he just turned 1.
So it's 2
and
kids. Or I thought it was 3 kids.
Yeah, my son, he's 12, and he's back in Nevada.
So the father has custody of your oldest son?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what? Okay. So what was the reason why CPS took your children away?
They tried. Okay, so in the beginning, in the very, very beginning, when they first got a call out when my son was born at the hospital, they said they were claiming substance-exposed newborn. And they said that my son had THC in his meconium when he was born. And I'm like, that's, impossible. And, there's no possible way that could be true.
Did they show
and
you a
so
toxicology report?
No, they didn't. But I ended up, afterwards, I ended up getting the report, the whole medical record for my son and I from the hospital. And as I was going through the paperwork, it says that no meconium specimen was ever even collected. No meconium and no urine specimen was collected for me or my son. And so, and there was no toxicology test results in there, for, nothing. So basically they lied to the judge, they lied in the petition. They didn't show any evidence. They didn't have any, still to this day, they don't have any paperwork, to back up their allegations. So, that case, though, was closed. Okay, so, I gave birth to my son.
So you won
and
that case for lack of evidence, correct? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I don't know. I guess, she just investigated it and closed it out. She went out to my house and she seen that I had everything I needed for my kids and that they were well taken care of and, that everything was good. And so the investigation was closed. And, when I took my son to the emergency room, they removed my kids because they said there was lack of contact between me and the caseworkers. But I was like, the other case has the case is already closed, and I was waiting for the, second caseworker, I guess, to get back to me as far as, the case being closed. And I didn't hear from him, the whole time. And so, anyways, I just recently found out that, when I went to court, for the dependency hearing, they had said that, because I filed for my appeal, and I won the appeal, and it was unsubstantiated, unfounded, because no medical health professional had made the determination that there was THC in my son's meconium. So because no doctor made that determination, it was unsubstantiated and unfounded and case closed. Well, when I presented that in court, CPS says, oh no, that was for the first report. There was a second newer report that was substantiated. And I'm like, second newer report? Like, that's news to me. Like, do you guys have this newer report? Because I'm thinking, in the petition, you guys are alleging substance-exposed newborn. And if you guys unfounded, if that was unfounded and unsubstantiated, then you guys either need to give me a new petition with this newer report that you guys supposedly have, or, give me my kids back. Like, this is ridiculous because I don't have a newer report. There was never a report made to the hotline when I took my son to the emergency room. Nobody called the hotline, nothing. I guess the caseworker had entered into the system that if contact was made with me or the children, to call CPS, and CPS were to come out and remove my children right away. So, I just found out that the second new report that they're trying to say, again, they're alleging substance-exposed newborn. So they're alleging that twice. So, when I got my whole case file back, it says that they unsubstantiated both reports because they said that CPS can't make the same allegations for the same child in two separate reports, which is what they did.
And they never had any evidence to support this, right?
No, still to this day. Even at trial, the paperwork that I got for that, all they had was the court report. And the court report, mind you, the very first visit that I had with my children, a week after they were removed from me, I didn't know where they were at or who had them or anything, but a week later I got a visit, and my children were covered in bruises. On their face. My daughter, in between her thighs, she had bruises. On her back, there was bruises. My son, his whole head was completely flat in the back. He had bruises on his forehead, on the back of his head.
And this is while he's in CPS custody, correct?
Right. Yeah. And mind you, he was only 8 weeks old at the time.
And what did the court do about this? Because obviously, if he's in CPS custody, you don't have him. How are they justifying all these bruises, all these injuries to your children?
Right. I asked for a second opinion because apparently the first doctor at Phoenix Children's Hospital, supposedly, which I think they just fabricated that paperwork, because when I went to Phoenix Children's Hospital to get my daughter's records, they said that she was never even there. They don't have any records of her ever even being there. And mind you, when I got the paperwork, for my case file back, it said that my son was taken back to the placement center, and my daughter was transported to Phoenix Children's Hospital to have a forensic exam done on her, which no forensic exam was done. And Mesa PD, Gilbert PD, and Tempe PD all refused. When I called 911, they all refused to take my daughter to the emergency room because she was bleeding, and they had violently molested my children, and my 8-week-old son. It was so horrible. It was just when they showed up, they were completely unresponsive in their car seats, just slumped over in their car seats. And, I called 911 immediately because they had them on these psychotropic drugs, apparently. And, would not wake up, no matter what. I was, trying to get my daughter to wake up. She would not wake up. She wouldn't even move. And I called 911, and I had changed both of their diapers at the time. And that's when I had noticed that she was bleeding. So, 911 gets there, and they all refused to look at my daughter. They refused to see what I was talking about.
What
and
is the
refused to take her.
justification?
They refused to take her to the emergency room, her and my son.
Why?
It was ridiculous. I have no idea because I guess they had found out, that CPS was involved because they talked to the lady who was supervising our visits or whatever, and she notified them, let them know that, hey, this is a CPS case or whatever. So, I have the video uploaded on YouTube, and, you could see the cop just standing there. Mind you, my visit was at noon that day, and we were at the McDonald's where the visit was being held at. We were there until about 6:37 p.m. And I was just what are we waiting for? What is going on? The ambulance, the paramedics, the police, everybody was outside in the parking lot, and they were just out there just chit-chatting with each other for 7 hours. And I'm inside the McDonald's with my children, they wouldn't let us leave. They wouldn't let us go out there to the parking lot to talk to the police or anything. And so it was just me and the visit lady inside the McDonald's waiting for the caseworker to get there, apparently.
Where's the dad of your children?
Out here in Arizona.
And what is his response to this, or does he have a response to this?
No, I haven't spoke to him. He took off basically when I was 4 months pregnant or so.
And he's the father for your two small children that's in question, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, so they, when I got the paperwork back, it says that they took my son back to wherever he was at, the placement place, that he was being abused and molested at. They took him back there and supposedly took my daughter to Phoenix Children's. And then when I got the paperwork from CPS about, the forensic exam or the medical exam, it said that the chief complaint was a checkup. It didn't say sexual abuse or, anything like that. She wasn't swabbed for anything. She wasn't tested for anything. My son wasn't checked, and then the hospital report was only took the doctor 4 minutes. So from the time they got her vitals to the end of the assessment, it was 4 minutes later. 4 minutes later. And, it was just so sick. And they took my children back to the same placement place for another 3 months. And mind you, my brother and his wife were more than willing to take my children from the very first day that they took my kids. I'm like, hold on, you guys don't have to take my children. My brother's on his way to come get them right now. What are you guys doing? And they're like, no, we have to take them. We have to take them. With no reasoning, no court order, no warrant, no nothing. No abuse. And my children, mind you, there were 2 caseworkers and, doctors, and they all assessed my children as safe in the paperwork. It says, they were, appropriately dressed, no signs of maltreatment or neglect or abuse, nothing. They were perfectly healthy, bonding well with mother, happy, things like that. They all reported that my children were perfectly fine. My house was perfectly fine. Everything was good.
So you got insurance for the medical insurance for the kids?
Do I have insurance for them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you employed?
Was I or am I?
Are you employed?
No, not now. I'm just basically having to be my own attorney in all of this, basically, I guess, because my attorneys filed 7 motions to withdraw from my case, and the judge is not.
No, Rachel, are you currently employed? Is the question.
No.
Okay,
no,
so in court you're a pro se litigant. You're not represented by counsel, correct?
No, I have a court-appointed attorney that the judge will not let go from my case. She's filed 7 motions to withdraw from my case from day one.
Why did the attorney file to be withdrawn from your case?
I have no idea. None. She said, in a couple of the motions that she filed or whatever, she's just, the very first one that she did before she was even appointed, the very first court hearing where she was going to be appointed, she filed a motion to withdraw because of conflict between the dates, I guess, that they had scheduled for the trial. She said that she wasn't going to be available for those dates.
But that's no reason to withdraw from the case. All they try to do is,
Change the court
schedule
date.
conflict.
Right. Yeah. Well, that was her reasoning. So then, they went ahead and changed the court hearing date, the trial date. They changed it and kept her on the case. And then right before the trial, she filed another motion to withdraw, saying that there was conflict between me and her, I guess, and I was an unworkable client or something like that.
Have you ever met your attorney?
I'm sorry?
Have you ever met this attorney?
I met her one time at her office, and, I took all my paperwork down there to show her, like, hey, there was no meconium specimen on my son even done. Case closed, basically, and, she refused to take that paperwork from me. She refused to, to hear anything that I had to say. She was just basically like, okay, well, they want you to do classes, and they want you to do this, that, and the third, and,
Do you think she's in cahoots with CPS?
I'm not sure because, it's so weird how she is because she won't send me anything via email. It's all done by mail. And every concern or question or anything that I bring to her attention, she's like an old senile lady, I guess you would say. If you look her up on the Arizona Bar website, it says
What's her name?
she's been Ann Michael Williams. And it says that she's, been disbarred and stricken from the role of attorneys for, not obeying the court rules of procedure and, just blatant, disregard to the court rules, basically. She's been sanctioned so many times, and she's, refused to pay those sanctions. And, there's just been so many complaints on this lady. And the Arizona Bar refused to accept my complaint when I called them to file a complaint against her for,
all right,
you should ask Steve how to file a complaint about an attorney.
Let's fast forward, Rachel. You have a hearing coming up on the 13th, correct?
Correct.
What's that hearing for?
It's the, I guess, report and review hearing and my pretrial for the severance because they're trying to sever my parental rights because my children have been in out-of-home care for, I guess, 6 months. But I guess they're stretching it out to the 15-month mark by the time my severance trial is. And my attorney did that. So they originally scheduled my severance hearing in January, but then my attorney went in and said, hey, I'm not available those dates, so we're going to push this out to the middle of March, which is strange.
What happens to your children if they take away the parental rights, and what does that look like for them?
Basically, that's what I don't get. I'm just like, it's almost like my parental rights have already been severed. You know what I'm saying? Since day one, because I don't get to see my children. I don't get it to I get to see them supervised visitation only, but I don't get to go to their daycare or, to my brothers to see them, or I don't get any contact, like phone calls or anything with my daughter. I don't have any say-so in their medical. I don't get invited to their doctor appointments. I don't know about their health or what's going on with the status of that. Nobody informs me about anything or keeps me updated. Like, I don't even know what daycare they go to.
So it's basically a civil death.
Like my rights have already been severed when they haven't.
It's what we call a civil death. That you have no contact with your kids, but they're alive. Rachel, we're kind of running out of time. Could you, if you like to, you could give your point of contact. But could you, just in your own words, just explain in very shortly, like in 30 seconds, how corrupt or unjust the system has turned out for you?
Well, the system's turned out to be very corrupt for me, being the fact that my case has been closed since the beginning. I have 32 pages saying my case is closed. And I have, this attorney who's filed 7 motions to withdraw, and I've given her all 32 pages saying my case is closed, and they should give me my children back. Yet the judge, the attorney, nobody's doing anything about this. They just keep tossing my case around back and forth to these judges. So, there's been 3 judges and 1 commissioner on my case. and nobody's done anything at all. I mean, they've owed me over 50 hours in visitation with my children that they won't give me. So I'm dealing with that right now with them. So I mean, it's super corrupt. It's super sick. I mean, I filed paperwork with the court, requesting the return of my children, and I mean, those just get intercepted basically by the attorney. So I go down there, and all the paperwork that I file, it gets intercepted by her. So I don't know if the judge sees it, or I don't know if it gets, makes its way to the judge or not, or what. But I know, I can't represent myself. The judge denied that, even though, we have.
Why
the
did
right
the
to
judge
represent. I don't know. Both judges.
All right, Rachel, we're gonna wrap it up. But thank you so much for coming on the show. We
Thanks
really
for having me.
appreciate you sharing your experience about the family court system there in Arizona. And I'll be down in Arizona on the 12th, and I'll be with you in your court appearance on the 13th. So I'm looking forward to that.
Awesome. Thank you so very much for that. I appreciate it. Just advice to anybody out there, don't come to Arizona. Keep your children far from this state. It's so corrupt and sick. It's all about the money out here.
Yeah. It's a nationwide epidemic, I'm finding out. Folks, that's
Yeah.
Rachael Alvarado, who was talking about the corruption in the great state of Arizona and family court system. But this is Steve Sampson, Jim Jonas, and Christina Ortiz of Veterans in Politics. But don't go away. We're going to come back with Robert Aguiniga. We'll be right back, folks.
Good afternoon. This is Jim Jonas, host of Veterans in Politics. We are a video and internet radio show, live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on worldwide digital broadcasting television. Our mission is to educate, organize, and awaken our veterans and their families to select, support, and intelligently vote for those candidates whom would help create a better world to protect ourselves from our own governments in a culture of corruption, and to be the political voice for those and other groups who do not have one. So listen to us live every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. on worldwide digital broadcasting television. Or if you miss that opportunity, it's okay. You can listen and watch our archive broadcast by going to www.www.dbtv.com, or simply Google Veterans in Politics and it will link you right over. It will also give you a list of our upcoming shows, so you can do some research and call in to ask questions. The number is 702-685-8380. If you truly want to be informed and make educated voting decisions, Veterans in Politics is the place to go. We are nonpartisan, have no agenda but to help you get the information you need to make an educated voting decision. Remember, the person who doesn't educate themselves and exercise their right to vote is only adding to corruption in government. Don't be that person. Listen every Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. to Veterans in Politics. For more information regarding VIPI, visit www.veteransinpolitics.org. Welcome back. This is Veterans in Politics with Jim Jonas, Lena Ocasio. I'm just kidding. I did it on purpose. Christina Ortiz and Steve Sampson. We have three special guests in the studio right now. We have the father, Bobby
Aguiniga.
I'm going to let him say it. Steve and I keep messing it up. To my left, we have Fabiano, and to my right, we have Cameron. And they are going to discuss the corruption in family court in the state of Nevada.
It's a first when I don't have to be the shortest person on the set. I'm super excited.
Bobby, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a contractor out of Iowa. I moved out here back in 2015 to start flipping houses for Wells Fargo and Freddie Mac. And in the between time, I went and ran heavy equipment, and I had an accident, and I've been down for about a year and a half now. Yeah. So I've been going through surgeries. I got my left leg crushed, and trying to fight with this corruption in the family courts here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I believe I have a great case. I got pictures. My children told CPS what's going on in this house. We showed them pictures of what's going on in this house. My son Fabiano's actually started a GoFundMe page to help me fund to get me an attorney.
Yeah.
But I have been boggled with why my kid's not out of this household. It just really boggles me. But now, I guess with this accident, God has blessed me in some sense. Now, I'm just got word that am eligible to get a loan, and I'm going to go get me one of the best attorneys in this town, and I'm going to expose this. Right now, I have the CPS on alert. They are really afraid of us, and they're really upset that I'm about ready to sue them.
Well, first off, one of the things that always strikes me about when I hear about any case that involves CPS, how did CPS get involved to begin with?
Started out that their older brother, which is now 23, he got caught selling drugs out of our house. And this is what made us split up, because she was protecting him, pretty much isolating him, saying, oh, no, he didn't do it, this and that. Right. But yeah, my son Fabiano found the stash, brought it to my attention. We called the police, CPS got involved. Ever since then...
Do you regret that?
Do I regret them?
Calling the police? And they got CPS involved?
Well...
Could you have handled that differently once he found the stash? Could you have dealt with it internally?
I thought, well, this is like the second time that he got caught selling drugs to a minor, and I told him if he ever did it again that I was going to turn him in myself.
So this is Fabiano?
Yes.
So Fabiano.
And who's that?
Cameron.
Cameron. So why don't you guys introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Fabiano. I'm 13, and I go to Lawrence Junior High School.
My son used to go there. In fact, two of my sons used to go to Lawrence. Yeah.
We have lived in Vegas for about 4 years now, and I don't know.
And what is your biggest problem with your high school? I mean, your junior high.
Junior high school.
They're like my height, so everybody's gonna be in high school. So help me.
They're just rude over there. It's like I get in trouble for the weirdest things. Like, okay, so one example is I would be late to class, so I would be rushing, so I'd be speed walking and kind of jogging a little bit, and they'll yell at me to go to the dean's office. So I go to the dean's office, and then it's automatic RPC. That's all they do for me.
Now, not everybody knows. Do you want to tell people what RPC is?
It's Recommended Parent-Teacher Conference.
And how many RPCs have you had? If you want to know his story, this guy kind of helped raise me, so you cannot have more troubles than I do.
Okay. Thank you, Fabiana. Cameron, tell us about you.
Well, I'm 9. I am...
You got to move your hand from
Yeah.
You got to speak into the mic.
Yeah, move to the mic.
So you're 9.
Be shy.
Come on, Cameron. You could do it. You're 9 and what?
What school do you go to?
I go to Deerfield Elementary, and I'm in 3rd grade, and...
But he loves to do the best.
I just love to write.
You have some pretty cool ponytail holders on your wrists and bracelets. Is there a reason?
So what I'm not getting is, okay, so the son was 23 that was selling the drugs?
Yeah, she has 4 boys from a previous, and I had 4 from a previous, and then we had 2 together.
So I just
These are the 2 you had together.
Yeah,
Yes, these
I
are
still
the
don't
two.
understand how CPS gets involved though. Why did CPS get involved? It's a 23-year-old.
He choked Fabiano, and when I was in the hospital when this happened, the kid's really messed up on drugs. In fact, I just got his criminal record, and he's got methamphetamine, heroin. He was arrested for distributing. He pled guilty. He was they gave him probation. He had the ankle bracelet on. I didn't know of any of this. I left.
Is that your ex-wife?
Well, I was never married to her, but it's her oldest boy who's
son.
still living at home.
Oh.
And he was arrested. She kept it from me. I didn't even know he had this arrest.
Mm-hmm.
I just got sick and tired of it because when we I was with her for 13 years. Out of the 13 years, she worked maybe about 3 times the whole time we was together.
Mm-hmm.
She went to nursing school twice. So I was sitting there busting my butt, paying all the bills, doing everything to support her and these 4 boys. Because the ex-husband didn't do anything, didn't pay his child support. So I was busting my butt to do it. So when I come to find out that, she's sitting there, he wrecked our vehicle 3 times. He didn't pay the deductible. We paid the deductible. We co-signed for him a vehicle. And then come to find out it was in repossession. We paid it off because that was our credit.
So basically, is this 23-year-old the ones that caused all
Yeah,
this?
causing all this. So I was just like, I'm sick and tired of sitting here paying for this boy's mistakes. I told her, you're going to have to do something about it or I'm out of here. Well, when Fabiano found that stash, I was like,
What was it, marijuana?
it was marijuana. Yeah, it was all bagged up, everything. This is even before marijuana was even legal to sell out
For
here.
distribution.
Yeah, for distribution. And I told him, I says, this is not the life that I want around me.
Right.
I was coming home from work and then all these, kids were hanging around my house. I'm like, what's going on here? Then when Fabiano found the box, I was like upset. So she told the police that I planted this on him.
What was the street value of that marijuana?
It probably had to be about $300 or $400. It wasn't much, but there was like 10 bags weighed out. And there was like 20s, 20s, 50s, but still the point is you're not doing that. Here I am trying to live a productive life. And your mother's a nurse, and I'm a contractor. We don't want this
Who's a judge in your case?
It was Duckworth, and then I told Duckworth that I joined teams with you, and he got scared and he got rid of it. And he says I recused myself.
He recused himself.
He recused himself from the case
because you told him that.
Because I told him that I'm jumping on board with you to go fight this corruption. So he removed himself from the case. So then he gave me Judge Hopkins. Judge Hopkins didn't even review any of my evidence, and pretty much they said I had 3 court dates. I had 2 court dates. The next thing I know is she's got primary custody. They got me with $880 in child support. I was like, what? This guy didn't even hear my case. He didn't even know. Duckworth had all the evidence.
You're a pro se litigant, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he didn't allow you to.
He didn't allow me to have any of my evidence.
So that's a violation of your constitutional rights.
Yeah. So I'm going into federal court with it, and I'm suing CPS, and I want to get these judges removed. If I have to go down there and picket and tell my story to keep telling my story, my boys even told CPS, "Why ain't you doing anything?"
As any of your sons, Fabiana, did CPS come pick you up?
They didn't pick me up, but they came to my school, came to the house multiple times trying to talk to me.
And what kind of questions did they ask you?
Like, how do I know what marijuana is? Has he been giving me any marijuana? Just weird questions like that, like trying to throw my dad under the bus.
And Cameron, have they ever bothered you, or have they ever said anything, or come to your school?
They have come to my school and tried to ask me a whole bunch of questions.
Were you alone with them, or was there a teacher or somebody with you to advocate for you, or were you by yourself with this person?
It was just me and the person.
It's very interesting. We always have a lot of parents here telling their case, but I don't really rarely do we get the opportunity to talk to the actual kids in the case. So why don't you just tell us, we'll start with you because you're older. What do you tell us, Fabiano, your story and how this has affected you?
Well, after I found the box, I was like, well, I know Dad has told him to stop, so I'm going to go show Dad. Because me and Dad were trying to play soccer, and the soccer ball was in his room. So I go in there, and I knock over a box on accident trying to get the soccer ball. All this stuff falls out. Marijuana, scales, bags. So I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to go show Dad this. So I pick up the box and I walk it out to Dad. Dad's like, did you get the soccer ball? I said, no, but I got something else you might want to look at. So I handed it to him and he asked me where I got it. I said, Lee's room. And he's like, oh, okay. So he called Lee and told him to get home. Well, 12 o'clock at night, somewhere around then. Lee ends up walking up with 4 of his friends. One's a girl who he's been messing around it with and is 17 right now, and she's pregnant, but she also has a baby right now.
Which moved in with them already.
Yes. And
living under the same roof with
yes.
you guys?
Yeah.
As under the roof with her.
And she's just totally like letting it happen. And she just turned 17. Well, anyways, she walked up. He had 2 other friends with him. And Dad walked out with the box and said, what's this? They hit Dad. Someone got the trash can.
They jumped you?
Knocked my teeth out. Yep.
Busted his nose.
Shattered my nose. She came out. She was in the house sleeping. She came out and told the police that I planted this stuff on him. They took me to jail. Yes.
Get out of
She
there.
said that I hit her and him. We were.
And your teeth is on the ground.
Yeah, my teeth's on the ground. Well, the police. I have a criminal history from way back. Okay, I'm not going to say I was an angel.
Right.
I'm an ex-Latin king out of Chicago. I was a
Right.
little stupid punk kid that learned his lesson.
Right.
You know, and now I teach my boys. It takes a man to walk alone.
Right.
You know, so with my criminal history, and in fact, the police said, "Oh, shoot, you know, this guy here's crazy back in the day." You know, so they ended up arresting me. Well, long story short, I ended up getting all charges dismissed because she knew that she was lying. We had video of it all. He got video of it.
Oh, he was taking the video.
Yeah, he was taking video. So
Smart
I mean,
kid.
And Fabiano, how do you feel about, like, I mean, you have to watch this, and how does it, I mean, how do
Affect
you
you.
feel about you and affect you? How does it affect you? I mean, you have to live with all this.
I mean, they still don't talk to me. They still don't mess with me because they think because they know I'm gonna tell Dad what they're gonna do to me, and it's still happening.
And this is your mom, right?
Yeah, she's sleeping all the time. All she does is wake up, get coffee, make us clean the house, and goes back to sleep. That's pretty much all she does, and eat, of course. But
So
First
there's no parental care from mom?
no, not really. There's only one boy in that house that really cares about us and will help us.
And who's that?
That's Matthew.
Who's Matthew?
He's the third oldest, and he's usually not there because he works, and so I'm sitting there having to cook for myself and him, and also I also cook for the second oldest, my autistic brother, because I mean nobody's gonna feed him, so I'm gonna feed him myself. So I'm sitting here cooking for 3 people and cleaning up after 3 people. I'm more of a parent figure than she is.
How does that make you feel? Because you still have school. And Cameron, how are you doing with all of it?
I'm just thinking that she just doesn't help us a lot, and we have to take care of ourselves.
And does anybody mess with you, or how do you get to school?
She drives it.
but she takes Lita to work first and has Cameron be late to school every day.
And then I have to wake up really early, make sure Cameron's up and dressed, and I give him breakfast, and she takes him, and I'm pretty late for the bus, so I have to run down to the bus stop to jump on the bus. And then I go to school, and then I have to deal with all these people at school.
And does anybody help you with your homework, guys?
Well, hold on. What does that mean? You have to deal with all these people at school. What are you talking about?
Like the dean, they don't care about me.
She goes to the school and she tells the dean that I'm putting crap in these kids' head. And
So-
she's a nurse.
So they won't believe me or anything I say. And so
CPS is going to be in trouble because they go to school and tell the school what's going on in this house, and they're
They're
not
not
reporting it.
supposed
And they're supposed to report it.
Yeah.
So I brought it to the school that I am suing you. Now they're all like, oh, no, you know.
Have you ever tried to reach out to any of the school board
Yes,
trustees?
I've been trying, and they're calling the school
Trustees.
board. Yeah, I haven't. I don't know. I'm trying to get hold of the school board. They won't call me back. You know, I told them that I want to go talk to them face to face. I've even tried to get a hold of Kevin Schuler. Kevin Schuler won't talk to me because he thinks that I'm suing him. You know, my son. When my son tells me that the CPS came and talked to him, I said, "Well, did you tell him what's going on?" He's like, "Yeah." And he goes, "I finally got mad and told the lady to get off her fat and do something about it. I want out of this house."
So what I'm hearing is that the children are neglected.
They don't
by-
even talk
by
to them.
mom.
Yeah, she don't even. He hasn't talked to him in about almost 2 years.
And that's-
Just go clean your room or go clean the house. He hasn't hugged her or kissed her in about 2 years. This is bad, dude.
And false allegations on
Yeah,
you.
on me. Yeah, and she knows that I'm a good guy. She's just trying to protect this kid, to all account, and she knows this. I supported this girl and her kids when her ex-husband didn't do it. You know, she knows that I'm a good guy. She knows that I just spoke my word when I said I'm sick and tired of paying for this kid's mistake. I says I'm not going to sit here and work and pay for this kid's mistake all of our life. It's not going to happen.
Robert, we're running out of time, but like Christina said, we've never had kids come on and talk about what's going on. So this is the first, and I think I probably want to do more of this. Since you're the oldest, why don't you look into that camera and tell people what you're going through and how CPS has affected your life?
I'm pretty much going through where I'm pretty much fending for myself. I'm cooking for myself, cleaning myself. I'm cooking for my little brother, cleaning him, making sure he's ready for school. And we have told CPS, we have told schools, we have told multiple CPS people. And for example, Rachael Alvarado, and he's not done anything. They've done nothing, and it's just really stressful knowing that they ain't doing nothing about it, and I have to go home and deal with this. And pretty much, it's like I'm running my own house, and I shouldn't be doing that at my age, which is stressful. And it just makes me so angry that nobody is doing anything about our case. And so it's hard to sit here and talk about this because I've been going through this for the last 4 years now. I've been hit, choked, I've been body slammed, I've been
I have pictures.
beat up, I have found stuff that I'm not supposed to be around.
Who's doing all this abuse to you?
Mainly the older brothers like Lee and Johnny.
And your mom has never stepped in and said anything?
Nope. She just says nothing. She sometimes will actually egg it on, like, you deserve that, or you shouldn't be doing that, so you got that.
And what is her reasoning behind you deserve it? Because I've been sitting next to you.
This is closing.
And it's just, it really makes me mad that nobody's done something about this. So I have set myself aside, and I'm going to sit here and study law with my dad, and I am going to sue them. I will go in there with my own attorney, and I'm going to sue the state of Nevada for lots of different reasons. I can't name them because I don't know them yet.
Well, very impressive. You sound like you got two good boys here, Robert.
I do. Very smart young men.
And Robert, I want to thank you for coming on and bringing your boys to open up with us. Cameron, thank you for coming on. Fabiano, thank you for coming on. That was a very good closing. Folks, that's Robert
Aguiniga.
And Cameron Aguiniga and Fabiana Aguiniga talking about the corruption with our family court system, Special Child Protective Services. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jonas, and Christina Ortiz with Veterans in Politics. Until next week.